I wanted to show you what the former Secretary of State said. She says to your committee, let's stop the games. If you want this fight, James Comer, let's have it in public. You love to talk about transparency. There's nothing more transparent than a public hearing, cameras on. We will be there. Congresswoman, do you have a response to Hillary Clinton?
Well, the biggest game we're seeing here is her evading for 6 months, both her and Bill Clinton evading the Oversight Committee. They were the ones that were playing games with us. This is just part of the process. This deposition, part of it under oath, sworn testimony. And if the chairman decides he wants to make them come public in the future, then he has the option to do that too.
Do you want to see it public?
I'm fine either way. I want to get to the bottom of it. I want to see more people interviewed. I know we have Lex Wexner as well. I've demanded this week at the House Oversight Committee also bring in Bill Gates after seeing that harrowing interview with Melinda Gates. I want to know why people weren't thrown in jail. I want to know who covered it up and when they covered it up. And I don't care if it's a Republican or a Democrat or all of the above. People need to go to jail for this.
You put that on X on Wednesday, and I'll read it to the viewers. It says, last night I watched Melinda Gates' interview. I immediately asked the chairman of Oversight, James Comer, to subpoena Bill Gates. I have questions for Bill Gates about Epstein. What are those questions, may I ask?
Well, who did he know and at what age were they and what did he see and witness and did he participate in any of this? The same thing goes with former President Bill Clinton. I want to know who was in the hot tub and were they underage or were they trafficked? These are really basic questions that should be answered for the victims in the Epstein saga.
He did speak out, Bill Gates. He was recently interviewed by 9 News Australia. Let me show you what he said about the Epstein allegations. Here's that.
You've no doubt seen the allegations, including some of them from the last 24 to 48 hours. Are they true?
No, apparently Jeffrey wrote an email to himself. That email was never sent. The email is, false. So I don't know what his thinking was there.
The problem is some of the things that he has sent and some of the information about other people that has come up in those files has been true. Why would he do this and say this about you, do you think?
It's factually true that I was only at dinners. I never went to the island. I never met any women. And so, the more that comes out, the more clear it'll be that although the time was a mistake, it had nothing to do with that kind of behavior.
Listening back to that, and I know you have your questions, but what are your takeaways from that interview?
Well, first of all, why was he hanging out with a convicted pedophile? Number one. Number two, what was his ex-wife, Melinda Gates, referring to? And in some cases, some people do write emails to themselves as a sort of diary entry to take notes about something that is happening so that it doesn't go away, so it doesn't get deleted. So it is on a cloud and can be verified in the future in an investigation. That is actually a common practice, mostly with victims, as I've seen, because I've worked with a lot of victims over the years. But I wouldn't discount it because he didn't send it to Bill Gates directly.
Finally, I want to pivot to this, if I can. Your race for governor in South Carolina. You're obviously aware of what you termed a hit piece by The New Yorker, which they titled, Nancy Mace is Not Okay. So I'll show you just a small sample of what they wrote. Mace has continued to shed much of her staff, torched her relationship with President Donald Trump, and torpedoed her bid to become governor of her home state of South Carolina. Mace's former staff members and Republicans who knew her say they would never bet against Mace wiggling her way out of a jam, but they increasingly think her career might be beyond redemption. With former staffers quoted in this article, Congresswoman, how do you respond to the claims that were made in this moment?
I responded by retaining a law firm to sue the media that print these lies, number one. Number two, these are anonymous people who would definitely have it out for me. This week, we were ahead in 3 polls, soon to be a 4th. We've heard 2 are public, 1 is private and not ours. So this was definitely because we are in the lead for governor. And I say, I have enemies, good, get in line. There's a reason why the establishment is terrified that I'm going to win the race for governor, because the good old boys system, the establishment system, is over when I'm in charge. And we're going to make South Carolina bigger and better than it's ever been before. Modernize it, get rid of the state income tax, and help victims who've not seen justice like the Epstein victims.
Information. Truth. is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.